My name is Diane Trout, and this is my final project for ED 410, and I entitled it Teaching Technology because I feel like I've kind of culminated everything that I have learned in the classroom in my technology classes. So, with that being said, first thing I'm going to talk about are the contemporary issues surrounding technology. One of the first things that comes to mind is students not being on task, students surfing the internet, being on Facebook, being on Twitter, and that goes back to classroom management. If the teacher has appropriate classroom management, then that's not going to be a problem. So if the teachers need to be up, walking around, being observant, having the witness in the classroom, even with technology. And I don't think that will be much of a problem. Funds for technology is also an issue. A lot of school districts are not able to go to the one-to-one iPad or laptop programs that they would like to, so they have to scrounge for funds for the technology, which reflects in the community by raising taxes. And a lot of people aren't for that, but some people are for it. So it just depends on where you live, how you will get the funds for the technology in your area. The next thing is student personal information shared. Excuse me. Once again, that goes back to teachers' classroom management. If the teacher sets forth guidelines at the beginning of the year outlining how students should present themselves online and their digital footprints, how that will affect them, then I don't think it'll be a big problem in the classroom with students sharing their personal information. You lay it out for them, tell them the consequences if they do it, and hopefully they will listen. The next thing is a lack of creativity. A lot of people think that technology leads to a lack of creativity. Well, from what I have seen in my classes here at Athens State, is that it's up to the teacher. If the teacher decides to just say, okay, here's the math app, go work on the math app for 15 minutes and that's your math lesson. Yes, that is going to lead to a lack of creativity. But if you use a program such as EduCreations and students talk through and record them writing their problems out, then the teachers can go back and look at how they worked out the problem, and they may learn something from the students. So I don't think technology really leads to a lack of creativity. I think it enhances it if it is done right. That's the big thing, if it is done right. Also, over-reliance. People think that students will not learn handwriting, they will not know how to read because they can just listen to the books on the iPad. A lot of things with over-reliance reflects in jobs that haven't even been created yet. I read a research study the other day that students that are in elementary school, most of the jobs that they will have when they graduate college have not even been created yet. So just think about the technological possibilities in those jobs when they graduate. It's not an over-reliance. Technology prepares them for the future. It teaches them what they need to know, because what I grew up with in school is not what these kids are growing up with in school. And what I have as an adult, I can say is not what I had when I was a kid. So I don't think it's an over-reliance. Students will still learn to spell, they'll still learn to write, but just think about how long it would take for students to rewrite a story after they proofread it when they could just go back and simply make edits like you do in an email. So I don't think over-reliance is a big problem either. Social isolation. People think that if technology is implemented in school, there won't be the teacher interaction, there won't be the student interaction. Well, once again, it is all up to the teacher and their classroom management, because if your classroom is being utilized like it should for the technology, students will not only be interacting with their peers in their classroom, they can also interact with other students in the school district, students across the United States, and even as far as global collaboration. And that's a great thing about technology. So I don't think that students will be socially isolated with technology. So the impact of technology on young children. Global collaboration and awareness. Students in the 21st century, they are growing up with a more positive outlook on the way the world works as opposed to even 15 years ago. They can work with students of the same age in Australia, London, all across the world, and gain a deeper understanding. And I hope that in 30 years that the world will be a better place because of all of this technology, that we will be more tolerant of each other. Also, technology allows for more wealth of information for higher order thinking. It's not just yes or no questions, it's asking the students a question, them taking the opportunity to go out and find it on their own and report back to the teacher what they found and describe what they found and how they found it and teach it to their peers. So it gives chances for higher order thinking. One negative thing about technology is that students demonstrate deteriorated patience. I've even witnessed this with my 6-year-old and my 9-year-old in the technology at home. If their iPod doesn't work or their iPad doesn't work the way they want it to, or their DS, they get frustrated. So if it takes a YouTube video longer than 15 seconds to load, they get exasperated and they're like, oh, come on, load, I want to watch it. So we have become a generation of I want it now, give it to me now. And most of the time we do get our information now, but when we have to wait a little while, we get frustrated. Another negative is a lack of physical interactivity. I don't think this is a huge problem because you can still get the students up and they can take a break. They can do a few jumping jacks in the room, toe touches. Even with like the Xbox Connect, you're interacting physically, moving with the Xbox, and so that's some sort of an impact. I know kids these days don't go out and ride bikes like they used to, but it's all how parents and teachers look at it. The last impact that I came up with is that research is easier and more engaging. Students, I think they have a pretty good time going out and finding their information on their own, creating a presentation and showing their teachers what they learned, instead of the teacher continuously feeding them information and basically turning around and spitting it right back out at the teacher by answering questions. Researching is easier, and there's so many different outlets that students can use to engage their peers and their teachers in what they have learned. Next is finding things that are developmentally appropriate. A few apps that I came across that I think are appropriate for elementary school age children are Edmodo, EduCreations. I love the EduCreations app. Even with kindergarten classes, they can draw, they can show you their shapes, and they can record what they are doing on their screen. Blogster, students can start blogging, and you can have them write one blog a week, and you can interact with them on their blog. And I think students would really appreciate that. VoiceThread, you have the opportunity to show video and speak audio. Sorry. You have the opportunity to show video of yourself while you're talking and the opportunity to record the audio and then post it on a board and everybody be able to see it in the class. QR codes are definitely developmentally appropriate for elementary age students. For example, one thing that I learned in this class was a neat thing to do is have a QR code on the whiteboard at the beginning of the school day. And as students come in and pick up their iPads to start the day, they go scan the QR code, go sit down, and they start their work. And I definitely want to try that in my classroom. And another app that I saw was Screen Chomp. It continuously records what's on the screen. Well, continuously records when you want it to record what is on the screen, and that kind of gives the teacher a chance to see what the children are doing when it is hard to walk around to 27 different desks and see exactly what they're working on. So it gives students a chance to showcase their abilities more personally on their work. The next thing is creative and innovative thinking. Two things that I learned in my technology classes were problem-based learning and project-based learning. And once again, this is not the teacher feeding them when the United States was founded, and then them turning around and basically rewriting what the teacher said and writing it in a report. It's the teacher guiding them and facilitating what they're supposed to learn. And the guidance is what the students need to have the help to go find what they need on the internet. And then they design projects out of it. All right, next is design and adapt experiences. We learned about the ADDIE instructional design model, which is analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. And I think that is a great model to design class projects or lesson plans. And the last step, which is evaluate, you're going to evaluate yourself, you're going to evaluate the students, and then go back and fix what didn't work. So I think that's a really good way to adapt. Customizing and personalizing experiences in the classroom is the universal backwards design, and I'm going to show you a quick clip I found on YouTube about it. So that's a quick overview of the UBD, and we did that, created a design plan in this class and submitted it for a grade. Next is collaboration in classrooms. Collaborations with teachers in the classroom, collaboration with students and their peers in their classroom. A fantastic way for students to collaborate and teachers to collaborate are Google Documents. Google Documents are like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, polls, ways that students can share their work with each other, and they can give users the access to edit their work. So if you have a group of 4 people working on a project and they don't get it all done in class and it's due tomorrow and they want to work on it at home, they can sign into their Google document at home and they can collaborate at home together. YouTube is a fantastic way to collaborate. Students can create their own channels and display their work, their presentations, just like we do in college, like I'll do with this presentation. I'll put it on YouTube. The next thing are class wikis. Class wikis are a great way for students to collaborate with each other and collaborate and consolidate the information they are learning. They can, once again, like Google Docs, they can go in and they can edit their work and their peers' work. Another fantastic tool is Blackboard Collaborate. And in ED 409, we did webinars and online classes and facilitated those classes. And I thought that was a fantastic way to learn how to create a webinar, what's acceptable for a webinar. So collaboration, those are some great tools. The Google Docs, the wikis, the Blackboard Collaborate, and YouTube are great ways for teachers and students to collaborate. Next, we have the use of current and emerging tools. I hope to stay up to date after I get done with college and stay learning about current tools. So I'm going to play this quick clip about the Horizon Report. Sorry about that. Here we go. So that was a great little video kind of outlining what the Horizon Report is, and of course it changes all the time and current trends can be kind of mapped out from the Horizon Report. One current one current trend that I really like is gamification. Gamification is not just playing a game, but utilizing points and leaderboards in the classroom. So, for example, you can kind of incorporate accelerated reader, AR, and you earn points when you do accelerated reader. And say when you earn 50 points, you can earn a badge. And then when you earn 100 points, you'll earn another badge. And it would be neat if there was a way to display all these badges in the room. Or if you're working on a project, the person who is the presenter would earn a badge for presenting that project. So it's basically utilizing points and leaderboards and badges in the classroom, which is what kids love nowadays, is to compete with each other on games, because most kids play games cooperatively now, and they earn achievements. So I think if we utilize that in the classroom, that would be great. Also, computers, iPads, and cell phones are very prominent in classrooms now, and I think a great way to help students. And I think programming is another trend that we should pay close attention to. I think that as the world gets more and more computers, we're going to need more and more programmers. And as we know, students learn better when they're younger. And if we start teaching students programming at a early learning age, just imagine what they could be creating by the time they get into college. All right, so we need to meet the diverse needs of all learners and use the ISTE standards. One way we can do that is use the SAMR model, which is substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. And that's a good way to differentiate education. And also the TPAC framework for technology integration is a good way to make sure that you're reaching all students and not just a handful. Okay, reflecting on current research. I hope to reflect on current research throughout my teaching career. One way, once again, would be to review the Horizon report when it comes out. That way I know what's coming, so I'm not blindsided by what's going to happen in the schools. Another way is through Twitter. These are some of the people that I follow on Twitter that I've actually learned a lot about technology from, and some really neat ideas and ways to do things in the classroom. So Twitter is an excellent way to network with other teachers across the world. Julie Lindsay, we did the Black Classroom Global Connect project in one of our classes, and I love reading her work that she does. And another one is having an RSS feed reader. We had to use Feedly in one of our classes, and as you can see on the left-hand side are some of the blogs that I subscribe to that kind of tell about the different technology-driven things in the classroom. And in closing, I think that if students and teachers synergize, they will enhance technology together. It's not just the teachers up at the front of the classroom teaching anymore. It's creating that flipped classroom approach and peers helping peers. Very rarely do you have a lecture-based class anymore, especially in elementary school when everything needs to be so hands-on. And as teachers, we need to be open to what students have learned and embrace what they know, because they could teach us something. So not only can we teach the students, they can teach us, and they can help peer-to-peer interaction work much better than teachers just standing up in the front of the room. So we need to synergize with our students, we need to synergize with other teachers, and synergize across the world, helping educate the children of today. So thank you for watching my presentation on teaching technology, and I appreciate it. Thank you.